watch friends. Today's watch is one of a number of Calibre 11 watches. Calibre 11, or Chrono-Matic, was a collaboration between a whole bunch of watchmakers in the mid-1960s, and they came to market in 1969 with a number of watches from Heuer, also from Breitling, and Hamilton ultimately came out with some others as well, and there's a whole load of other variants in the 1970s that came along. But both of these watches here are from 1969. The one on the right, which I'll cover a bit later on, is a Heuer Carrera 1153N, so it would have had a black dial, or at least that was what it's called, although it's actually called a blue colour. And the one on the left is a Breitling 2114. Both of these are fairly unusual. I'll go into a bit more detail on the Heuer in another episode, but for now I just want to take a quick look at the Breitling. So the Breitling is quite similar in some respects to Heuer's Ottavia. There was a number of different versions of this watch in its range. This one being the only one that has a fixed bezel, so it's a tachymeter bezel on it. Some of the others had rotating bezels that you would use to time stuff, similar to the way the Ottavia bezel rotated. Also, the style of it's quite similar to what some people would call a Ottavia orange boy, with orange hands and everything. This one has a Calibre 11 movement, and there was 11, 11i, 12 and 14. So as the movements evolved over the time, they changed the design features a little bit, making them a bit more reliable. You can tell there's a number of obvious telltales when you look at the movement shots. But anyway, the Breitling here, it's a fairly standard looking watch, quite chunky. Like all the other Calibre 11, 12 and 14 watches, it has a left-hand crown, and this one's got Breitling logo on it. And then the case back is just a screw back job with the etching of what the watch is all about. When it came to me, in fact, in the catalogue shots, they all are on straps. So I fitted it to this NSA or Novavit bracelet, because there is a similar looking bracelet in one of the catalogue shots, and quite a few manufacturers of the time just used NSA bracelets and stuck their logo on the clasp, Heuer including in that. So it's a nice watch. It's just been serviced. There's a bit of patination on the dial, which I might have see if I can show you in a minute, and the hands have been repainted because they've been badly painted before. So when I put it in to get serviced at Mitka, I had asked him to repaint the hands as well. So it's not going to be winning any prizes for concours condition, but I like it, and it's a nice watch on the wrist. So let's take a closer look at the dial on this Breitling. As you can see, the dial itself is a little bit patinated. It's got little dots on the surface of it, and there's a few little specks on the subdials. Interestingly, that it's known as Chrono-Matic. So Chrono-Matic was the name of the group that built the movement, but they sold it out to Breitling as a brand name fairly early on. So Heuer, for a very short while, used to put Chrono-Matic on the front of their watches, and then they stopped because Breitling basically took the trademark over. There are a few other major differences in the way that some of the brands made their watches up. So the subdial at 9 o'clock here has got a marker for each of the counters on it, whereas the early ones from the likes of Heuer only had 12, 3, 6 and 9. Later on they adopted the same sort of movement where they had each one marked out. And similarly, these kinds of blocky hands were quite unusual at this era, but they became more common in some of the other variants of the watches that came along afterwards. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep subscribing, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.